Hey guys, so we're gonna have a little sit-down chatty chat today. Man, I turned the comments off on the Charlie Kirk video because I figured it was gonna be a bloodbath in the comments if I'd left it on. Actually, most of the comments that came through, not on that video because comments weren't on, but that reached out to me elsewhere. Yes, I hear you, goats. I hear you, babies. Hear the goats? Anyway, so most of the people who reached out to me were overwhelmingly positive about that. There was only a grand total of 2 that were negative, and one of them I think was just a troll that was like on a no-name sock puppet account that I blocked after about 3 interactions, and the other one was one of the people who was being talked about, who completely crashed out that night over the fact that, oh, I dared read even some of their messages. I didn't even read them in full. If I had read them in full, ooh, your toes would curl. But anyway, I thought my audience was mature enough not to have this discussion, the one that we are about to have today. Back when this was a relevant topic all over YouTube, I didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because I didn't think you guys needed it. I thought we were above that and cooler than that. And 99% of you are. So most of you, promise you this is not about you. And any that I'm coming to think of off the top of my head who might think it's about them that it's not about, I'll have to like reach out to you and like reassure that this ain't about you. This ain't about you. This ain't about you. But 99% of you are perfectly fine. This isn't about you, but I mean, you're free to listen to this chat anyway, because I mean, it is important, but don't feel like it's a personal attack on you because it's not about you. Parasocial relationships. So parasocial relationships is that phenomena that happens sometimes with celebrities, sometimes with content creators. I suppose it could happen with just about any kind of person, where there's a following and people think that just through the interactions they have with them that there's more of a relationship there than actually is, and can sometimes overstep that and assume it and expect it to be more than it actually is. I have, for the most part, been really lucky in not having a problem with this here. I can count probably on one hand the number of times I have encountered this actually being a problem. And I have been running this channel almost 20 years now. Now, I'm sure part of that's probably because my channel is pretty small. In the grand scheme of things, 8,000 subscribers ain't shit. Like, let's be real. Like, I have no delusions. I know, I'm a tiny channel, and I will probably forever be a tiny channel. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not even complaining, because the more I think about this, I'm like, maybe it is better to stay small, you know? But, the bigger channels, they tend to have more of a problem with this, and that's why they get distant with their audiences. Celebrities deal with this shit left and right, and this is when you hear about them having stalker fans. I didn't expect to encounter this much, and like I said, for the most part, I really haven't. It's been only just like a very, very tiny handful of times out of all the interactions we've had here. That's not to say there haven't been inappropriate interactions with people. That's not to say that there haven't been some that have bridged the gap from viewer to actual friend that then overstepped. And then, thankfully, most of them, when I've said something, are able to dial it back, and then we are totally fine without an issue. Like, I am a reasonable human being. You just gotta be patient with me on my terms. But, I don't think that's too much to ask at the end of the day. But what really shook me this time, I don't know why, and this is the first time I've encountered it with a woman. So I was like a little taken aback by that because I so didn't see it coming. Although in hindsight, the signs were all freaking there for ages, and just, I mean, when you're raised in an environment that's so unstable, all the red flags just start to look like flags. Borrowing a line from BoJack Horseman. Anything that should have been a red flag with this situation, I think I viewed maybe as a yellow flag at best. I wrote it off as, maybe it's just a weird person, whatever. I'm not gonna give it much thought. Whatever. I'm a weird person. Like, it is what it is. So I gotta mute this because I'm getting distracted. Hold up. Put this in do not disturb mode. Okay. Now, for the most part, not a problem with 99% of you. Probably 99.9%, I would even say. It's been a very, very, very small number. Of the ones who have overstepped, most of them have been men who assumed there to be some kind of relationship there that was not there, just because they've interacted with me on this channel. And the other thing I've noticed in common across the board, which is the other thing that shook me about this, it always seems to be either boomers or Gen Xers. Don't know why, but it seems to hold steady across the board. I'm not sure if maybe that's because since they didn't grow up with social media being a thing and this is newer for them, that they don't really get how all this works and what healthy boundaries look like. I don't know, but being the combo of the two this time, I'm just like, ooh, unfortunate. And I gave it a lot more leeway than I probably should have. I probably should have shut it down months ago and just stemmed it off before it became too big an issue. But I didn't. I was like, nah, I'll tamp down my discomfort and just keep dealing with it. At this point, the user's blocked. They won't be back here. If I find out they made a sock puppet account and came back, I'll be blocking that too. I blocked their phone number, I blocked their Instagram, and that is that. So, I won't be interacting with them any further. Should hopefully be the end of it. I sure hope. But, here's the thing. It got really complicated and messy on this one, since it was somebody that actually I historically had really enjoyed interactions with when it was in the context of on here, in comments, where it was a controlled environment, or in the live streams where it was a controlled environment. I am spending X amount of time on this and then I'm out. I don't know at what point, somewhere in there, exchange phone numbers. That you would think I would learn that that is a mistake every time. I shouldn't say that because that's not true. It hasn't been a mistake every time, but on this one it did turn out to be. Because it just ended up becoming one of those things where they thought they somehow had higher status and had a higher claim on my time, and more of a claim to me perceivably should have been telling them things behind the scenes. I don't know what they expected. I don't know why they thought any of that was cool. It wasn't. But I allowed it. Granted, that's on me. Granted, it's also on me that I even allowed them to have my number, because I figured at most, maybe they would just text me a one-off thing here or there, and that would be it. Wasn't it? I should have known it started going downhill when I started accepting calls from them, and they disregarded my time. And even things like when I told from the outset, you have an hour, that's it, I can only talk to you for an hour. Next thing I know, hours later, and they're still going. Even though I set the boundary from the outset and it went ignored, I am still learning to set healthy boundaries, because growing up I had zero. I had no control, I had no boundaries, no idea of what healthy boundaries even fucking looked like. I am still learning. I am still learning to exercise them. I am still learning to place them. I am still learning where to place them and how. So I'm not perfect at it. Okay, I don't claim to be. But it is a process, and one that I am trying very hard to figure out what is the appropriate amount with anyone, for that matter. Not just people from here, but just in general, what are the healthy boundaries? What do they look like? So, something like this, where it went blatantly disregarded more than once, I just started avoiding calls altogether with this person, and they kept asking for them. I kept ghosting, and that should have sent a message to most normal people, but that's not me making fun of them. That's just me calling them as I see it. Oh, puppy dog's out here. Hi, puppy. I didn't even hear you come out here. Hello, puppy doggy. Hold on. Are you gonna drop a shapoopy? Yep, you're dropping a shapoopy. Okay. Anyway. Sorry, got distracted by the puppy. So anyway, this person, who will remain nameless, but those of you who have paid attention, close stuff, could probably figure out who it is. They started getting weird over things like comments if I didn't reply to every comment. They started getting weird if I didn't reply to their texts. It's just like, let me tell you a thing about me, and I have said this before. The more somebody gives pushback to me not interacting the way that they want me to interact, that is the most surefire way for me to shut the whole thing down and have nothing to do with you. No matter who it is. That's across the board. That's not just parasocial. That's just in general. It is a big red flag to me. I hate that shit. If somebody starts acting demandy of my time, homie, don't play that game. So, initially it just struck me as like an anxiety thing, because it felt like it was coming from a place of anxiety initially. So I would kind of quell this person's fears, be like, no, of course I'm not mad at you. Why would I be mad at you? No, I don't reply to every comment. Which is true, I don't. Most of you know that, like, 90% of the time I will hit that little heart icon to let you know I saw it, I acknowledge it, I appreciate that you left it. I don't necessarily have anything to add to it, that's why I didn't reply to it, but I want you to know that I saw it, and I appreciate it. I used to, once upon a time, reply to every single comment, but then it felt like extraneous at a certain point. It was never a thing like, I am too good for this, or I am above you, or I don't have time for it. It was never that. It has never been that, and it will never be that. No. It is more just, I feel like if I don't have something of value to contribute comment-wise back, it feels cheap to just be like, thanks for sharing, or something hollow like that. That feels cheap to me. That feels disingenuous. And I think a lot of you agree with that. That's why I don't just auto-reply to every single thing. So, some might agree with it, some might disagree. That's fine. We can all agree to disagree on things. But, if that had been the only thing, that would have been one thing. Then when it started carrying over into texts that I didn't reply for one reason or another, be it just my ADD, I saw it, forgot to reply to it because I got distracted with something and just never got back to it, or because I didn't feel I had anything to reply to it with, or just in general, sometimes if my mental health is fucked, I don't feel like talking to anybody, and I cloister in on myself. For the record, no, I'm actually great right now. This is probably the most stable I've been in a long fucking time, and I'd like to keep it that way, please and thank you. So, I am guarding my fucking peace. Sorry if you hate me for it, but I am guarding my damn peace with, like, everything in me, because I would like to maintain some semblance of sanity, please and thanks. So, it started getting into a thing where I was being guilt-tripped for not replying to stuff, and that also doesn't sit well with me. Because to me, my brain interprets that as, oh, this is narcissistic abuse, isn't it? Got it. Was raised with it, learned to ignore it a lot, have been learning to set healthier boundaries with people that exhibit that behavior, have learned to either go gray rock on people or to just not interact when I see that behavior. Got it. Okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, just means that I cannot. That is one boundary where I'm like, I just can't fucking do it. And won't do it. So, whatever. Not my problem, not doing that. So, again, don't hate the person at all or anything like that, but it's just like, I started placing distance. I started intentionally not replying to stuff a lot of the time. Every once in a while, I would reply to something. If they were in my live streams, I would respond to them there. That was about the extent of it. They started getting weird about stuff, though. Like, things in my personal life I didn't divulge on the channel for one reason or another, and then it came out to them one way or another, be it I told them directly or they found out some other way, and then being mad at me that I didn't go to them like as soon as the thing happened. Like, I'm sorry, what made you think that we had that level of... No. If I am not openly sharing it, then it's not meant to be publicly shared. It's not public consumption. I don't have to share every last detail. I'm a fairly open book with most things. Always have been. And I think people take me for granted for that. So, some see that as attention seeking, some see that as narcissism. I see it as just, I try to be pretty open and transparent about who I am, what I'm about. I am what I am, take me or leave me, warts and all. This is what I am. This is what I'm like. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. No one is. We're humans. Deal with it. So, the fact that they got weird about it and seemingly upset over me not going to them, over something that was frankly quite personally like a health thing. I was like, why the hell? What made you think it was appropriate, A, for you to get mad at that, and B, that I would feel obligated to have to go to you directly? I don't get that. That does not compute. Does not compute. If it had been something I had publicly made a video about, beyond the one stream where I addressed it and then privated it like a week later, it's like, actually, let's not have it out there for everyone, because I'm frankly not comfortable having it out there, and I don't want to. I don't want to talk about it, if I'm being honest. Every once in a while there is something where I'm like, I would rather be secretive about this and just not talk about that topic. I'll talk about anything else. Everything else. Not that. There's no issue with that. If you have a problem with that, you're the problem. I'm not the problem. I offer way more than most sane people would. So the fact that I keep anything back just close to the vest for me, yeah, sorry, that doesn't hit well when you're acting entitled to me having to tell you. Yeah, that was months ago. I'm still upset about it, if I'm being completely honest and transparent, which I am. And then them being like, I knew it. I knew something was going on. Is this why you've been so is this why your videos have been weird? It's like, my videos have been distant and weird for the past 2 years because my mental health was in a really dark shit-ass place. I'm finally doing better, so they're finally starting to ebb more towards back to what they used to be like and have some of that breath of life breathed back into them. When I do poorly up here, the videos suffer. I still make them, but they feel a lot more soulless and just like, okay, why, yeah. I get it. Trust me, I'm aware. I know. But it's like, the fact that I'm even posting anything feels like an accomplishment when I'm in that mode. Soulless or not, it just, the fact that I'm offering anything feels like a gargantuan feat that I accomplished that day when I'm in that mode. Sorry that I can't be 1000% all the time. It's not human. Can't ask that of me. I don't know how celebrities do it. I don't claim to be one. I am just some chick on the internet with a camera who talks to herself. So, I have no delusions of grandeur or anything like that. I am just some rando on the internet who shares her life, shares her struggles, because I feel like they're relatable to people who go through similar things. They might not be identical, but people can oftentimes see some of themselves within it, and it feels like a kindred spirits thing, and it's cool for that. It's not me trying to attention seek, it's not me looking for sympathy. I mean, sometimes I'm looking for sympathy, but I'm at least transparent about it when that's what I'm looking for. But like, most of the time, it is more just, I feel it's important to be transparent on things like that that have been stigmatized for so many decades and years and things. to let other people know who might be going through it too, that you're not the only one, you're not alone, you're not a weirdo, you're not crazy, you're not a freak of nature. There's lots of us who go through it every single day. We take it a day at a time, a minute at a time. It's okay. The downside of running something like this is that people take that for granted. And that's when it becomes a problem. Again, 99.9% of you are not the problem. I love every interaction that we have. I want you to continue to interact the way you always have, alright? When I hit the point of something being this big an issue, I just block the person, get them out of here, and move on. So the rest of you are not affected. It's fine. But it's one of those things where I can see where people up in their own head watching it day in, day out feel like maybe there's more of a thing there than realistically is. I get that. And part of being a content creator is kind of banking on that. If we're being honest, like, there kind of has to be some amount of that to some degree, a healthy degree. Otherwise, nothing would resonate with anyone, therefore why would anyone watch it? Obviously, something has to resonate for you to keep coming back to it, right? So, I mean, some level of parasocial relationship is fine, is not problematic, it's just the nature of the beast, right? It just is what it is. And sometimes, genuinely sometimes, some people we meet on here do become actual, genuine online friends. No issue. No issue. I mean, occasionally, sometimes, in the past, ironically, this is something that they tried to have a gotcha moment on, even though it really wasn't the gotcha they thought it was, pointing out, you bitched out both sides of your audience today, and just like when you bitched out your audience for trying to talk to you, it's just like, no, that's not what I bitched them out for. It's just when it is excessive and over the top and I am clearly not interacting back, or you're spamming me with a bunch of messages back to back to back to back to back, and I see that as just a wall of emotional and mental labor that I do not have the bandwidth for at this moment, therefore I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole. Maybe I'll come back to this when somebody just says, hi, another day, and I will never touch that wall of spam. Yeah. It is what it is. Sometimes I've interacted with people that have had that happen, and we've had a chat about that, and they course correct. We reach an understanding, and it's fine, and we carry on business as usual, just with like a little bit of a healthier boundary in place. Not saying I don't want to interact with people. I do, on my terms, and in the parameters that feel sane and healthy, you know? It's just, believe it or not, I am not as terminally online as you think I am. I'm really not, especially since a lot of my videos are so pre-filmed in advance. I was like, yeah, there's like entire days I never touch a camera, don't even like go on the computer, I don't even like look at my phone. There's so many people who are just like so glued to their phones now that I think they forget what it's like to actually have hobbies and do other things that don't require being perpetually online and don't require having to seek the validation of a content creator to do them. Now, I mean, plenty of people have, like, shared very personal, intimate things with me in comments, and I welcome that, and I tend to always try to make a point of replying to those, because I respect that level of vulnerability. I know if I leave something like that, and it falls on deaf ears, it tends to feel like a bit of a rejection. I get it. I do try to go out of my way for those. I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth in me at that moment, but I try to especially go out of my way for those, and I appreciate it. I want you guys to continue that. Like I said, most of you never had an issue with. Keep doing what you've been doing. You're good. You're good. It's been maybe like 4 or 5 people in the history of this channel that it's really been a problem with on the parasocial level. There have been a handful more of them that just kind of overstepped with the messaging, and we had a conversation about it and it was fine, but like, that's still, by the numbers, a fairly small group of people in either camp for 20 years of doing this, and over 8,000 of you collectively. Like, That's a pretty good track record, right? Like, most of you are just fine. Like, I still want you to comment. I still want to have conversations. I still want to, like, connect on Instagram and Twitter. I'm a little weirder about letting people into Facebook these days if feel like I actually am genuinely comfortable with somebody and have, like, actually gotten to know them. Maybe you've even been on, like, live streams with them somewhere, like, on screen, talking face-to-face to them. If I get a good vibe, I'll still add somebody, but I am a lot more cautious about that one now. That one's a little more sacred. I also don't really update it, so other than to use Messenger, there's no fucking point, and you can reach me other ways, so don't take it as a rejection if I don't friend you there. I don't friend most people there anymore, so. But, like, you still have Instagram, you still have Twitter, even though I basically just shitpost fandom stuff there. There's Reddit where you can message things. Like, you got options, okay? You got options. There's even, like, the business email. You can reach me. There's no guarantee that I will reply to everything, but I will probably see everything. So I try, though, like, especially, like, the really long time people who've been here for, like, ages. I try to go out of my way more for them. I think that's also what caught me off guard with this one, was this one had been somebody who had been around for a really long time here, and I did not see this coming, really, until, like, just this year, and then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, okay. And then when their line of messaging started getting more vitriolic, more heated, more political, more radical, I was just like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be done here soon. And then the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and they went full nuclear with their toxicity. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, every gut instinct I ever had here was 100% correct. Holy shit. Never again, nope, not on that one. Cannot, will not, And it's unfortunate, because I had previously enjoyed interacting with them when it was on my terms to interact with them, but then they went off, completely spiraled out after I posted that video, because I read even a small snippet of what they posted, just so you guys could know the level of hatred that was coming from this person that made me extremely uncomfortable. I'm just not safe. It was like, no, we're not doing this. No. So hopefully that will be the end of interacting with them on any level. I'm aware that they are in a lot of shared musical spaces, so they might show up other channels that I go on. There's nothing I can do about that except ignore, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's just rough, because none of this comes with a guidebook. None of this comes with instructions on what is the protocol for when this situation occurs. When it tips past this level, what do you do? Like, none of it was, like, criminal or anything. None of it was, like, that bad. None of it was, like, stalker-worthy. None of it was, like, issue a cease and desist. None of it was, what is the word I'm looking for? Restraining order. None of it was restraining order worthy. They're, like, across the country, not too worried, like, pretty sure it's just a parting of ways. It's just unfortunate that it went down in the particular way that it did. If they continue to try to bypass my blocking them, I might reconsider that, not needing any of those, but at this point, anyway, no need for that, but just, it's unfortunate, and it's always a little bit sad, but it's one of those things where it's just like, when you run something like this, you constantly have to figure out what is the appropriate level with anybody that I feel comfortable talking to them. What do I do when they have ignored that and are going past that, you know? I mean, I'm not wild about the phone to begin with. Anyone who knows me knows I am really not wild about phone calls. I'm even weirder about video chats. There is very few people that I will drop everything for a video chat for. If you are one of those people, count yourself blessed, because I can probably count on one hand the number of people I'm even willing to do that with at all. much less at the drop of a hat. So, but even audio calls, I'm generally just weird about, always have been. I'm just as bad with the phone, just causes me anxiety anyway. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of it, which is ironic, given that I'll fucking talk to a camera and talk to countless people at a time this way, but it's a controlled environment where at any time I can hit stop and bounce. There's no one trying to probe into my life, ask weird, uncomfy questions that I don't feel like answer. It's nothing like that. It is very much, I will share as much as I am comfortable sharing, and that is what I'll do today on any given day. And I know I share like little teeny slices of life at a time across the board, and always have. That's not stopping. That's not going away. Nothing's changing from how it's ever been. But I didn't think we needed to have this conversation. And again, most of you don't. Most of you are just fine right how you are. But just so I have something to point to in the future in case I encounter it again, I can just copy paste the link of this and be like, hey, I need you to watch this and actually take it to heart. Otherwise we can't talk anymore if you can't just respect basic boundaries. It's just weird. I think it happens to be like a certain age demographic because they didn't grow up with it, therefore they just think it's like saying boundaries is just, well, I'm just picking up a phone, I'm just like talking to my friend. It's like it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, okay? I need you to understand that. And to just put somebody on the spot and be like, I need to call you. It's like, no, you don't actually. You don't. You can put that in text. Maybe I will reply to it, maybe I will not. If that makes me an asshole, then I guess I'm an asshole. But that's not what this is about. That's not what YouTube is for. It was about sharing things, finding like-minded people, like having discussions here collectively as a group. Sometimes it ends up splintering off into things where we can have one-on-ones in very certain, very specific, boundary important parameters. But generally, I'm very guarded. I'm very private. Believe it or not, for as much as I overshare on here, I am actually a very private, solitude-driven person who values her privacy, and more so her time. Okay, it's like there's never enough hours in the day, but especially when you're narcoleptic and you really do have less hours in the day to play with that you're even conscious for, it's hard. It's hard trying to find the balance between, I don't want to be an asshole or a jerk and just ignore everyone. That's not the intention. It's not supposed to be a superiority thing. It's definitely not that either. It's just, I don't have the bandwidth for all of it all the time, and when it reaches a point of asking too much out of me at any given time, and then getting mad about it, or getting hurt about it, or pulling the guilt trips, or just, like any of the weird shit, it's like, no, I didn't sign up for that. You can claim like, well, you willingly gave me your note. It's like, did I though? It kind of felt like a nicety thing that I had to, and I didn't expect you to actually use it, and then you did, and then I kind of had to keep it. It gets murky, you know? If it happens organically, that's one thing. But I don't want to like totally drag this person, but it's also like a big red flag to me. I have to be honest. If somebody has no social media presence of their own, that strikes me as a big warning sign that they're hiding shit, yet they're expecting me to be on call 24/7 at any given time. They might feel they need something because they view my material in a way to where they already treat it as whatever they want, which, okay, let me make this clear. There is loads of you who like fall asleep to my videos, or you find them relaxing, or you put them on in the background so you feel less lonely. Like, that's fine. You do you. I have no issue with that. That's great. I am glad that you find value in it that way, even if it wasn't intended to be used that way. You know what? I am happy for you that it actually is able to serve you in some capacity like that. However, I didn't sign up to also additionally on-call be your counselor, your nurse, your like your lapdog, your whatever, like your sounding board. Like I didn't sign up for that. I didn't. And that's where I pull back, and just when I get a gut check on that, I tend to not be wrong. You know? And again, not calling them a bad person by any means, just unfortunately a little, like, social media not as savvy as a lot of us are, but that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has to have learning moments, and that's the only reason I share this, is maybe as a learning moment for in case that resonates with you, not necessarily with me, but like just in general with how you view social media creators. If you're both using it for that, but then also expecting that person to on call be any of those things, you're doing it wrong, and you're probably freaking people out with it. So just a little heads up on that. It just, you know. Now it's another thing if somebody says, hey, I'm struggling with a situation dealing with this. Can I talk to you about it? If I say yes, then by all means, go ahead. Go ahead. Like, I welcome that. And I encourage you to reach out if it's something like that. But I need you to understand, you can't be mad at me if I didn't get to it fast enough for your liking or whatever. But I do encourage you to reach out. I'm not trying to be like in my ivory tower or whatever. Like, this isn't that. It never was. Despite apparently some people's contrary opinion, and that's okay. Lots of people think lots of things about me. That's okay. That's okay. I am not paid for that. I am not qualified for that. I am not prepared with how to field that. If that's what you're looking for in your life, you need to seek out somebody who is a therapist, or seek out somebody who is like a doctor or a nurse, or seek out a therapy dog or whatever. Like, no, or if it's just like you're that bored with your time to where you're just like spamming a creator over and 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 over. It's like, maybe, I say this as gently as possible, maybe you need to like look into getting some hobbies that don't involve being online 24/7. I am not saying that to be an ass. I am saying that from a point of somebody who has been in your shoes. I understand what it's like to have the parasocial relationships. I've lived them too. I have also made these mistakes firsthand. I get it. That's why it's like, I see you, I see what this is. I have worked really hard to break myself of that behavior, but it's also why I have very, very low threshold tolerance for it from other people, and have put up healthier boundaries. Again, I'm not perfect, and sometimes I don't recognize right off the bat that I'm going to need to place the boundaries. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's a process where you learn as you go. And even as like a person-to-person basis, a lot of times you learn as you go. And you adjust as you go. So just because somebody was cool with it this one time over here doesn't mean that they are now obligated to be that all the time for you for the rest of all time. Like, no, we didn't sign up for that. We're not paid for that. Like, if you're gonna have to, like, actually, if you're looking for that, like, open that wallet. Sorry, but I'm also not volunteering. Find somebody who is qualified for that work. Pay them to do that service. Just saying. I'm not saying that to be an ass. I'm saying that out of all seriousness, that if that is a way in which you are struggling to just deal with life, seek it. Figure out, well, you gotta reflect first. Figure out what it is in yourself that you feel you're lacking and what it is you're seeking out in said creator that you think you're trying to fill. Now figure out where is an appropriate avenue to seek out to fill that need. And I guarantee it won't be a content creator. Like, I will be honest with you, it's never going to be a content creator who is going to meet that need for you. Goodness, it's rough, and this is not a, oh, woe is me, crisis mode, but no, it's not. This is a learning moment, both for the person involved, because they said they're still gonna watch these, even though they won't be commenting. It's like, okay, well, free views, I guess, but if they're watching anyway, then maybe something I've said can resonate within them to do better in future elsewhere, and maybe in how they just go about life, you know? And again, it's not just all about that person. It's in general. It's in general. If this resonates with you, and any of it sounds like advice you might need to take, you know, I mean, advice is free. Like, just saying. But, yeah, it's a weird thing. And I feel like, especially female content creators tend to run into this more because people view women as the nurturers. It's built in, it's instinct. You have to take care of everyone, and there is some truth to that just we are hardwired to want to make everybody comfortable, and we want to make everybody happy. We want to take care of everybody. We do, at our core. But you also have to look at just your relationship with social media and how much of that is realistic and how much of that is wishful thinking and trying to save the world in a way that is not sustainable. So it's stuff to think about. Even if you're a creator yourself, I think it's stuff to think about with, have you placed healthy boundaries between yourself and your audience? And just in general in life. It's not even necessarily all entirely a content creator thing. It is in general. I mean, I used to be that person who was like so terminally online that it was like impossible to even like go 5 minutes if I didn't have an internet connection, or I would like freak out and melt down. I get it. It's why I started crafting. It's why I started picking up more instruments to take up more and more time that was not connected to a computer in any way, shape, or form. Maybe when I'm all said and done with that project, I come share it online. But while I'm actively doing it, I have the devices far the fuck away from me, and I can breathe, and I can hear myself think, and it's wonderful. Highly recommend it, by the way. So, like, it doesn't have to be crafting. I mean, it can be. You could go hiking. You could, like, hit a gym. You could, like, go out to a bar. You could go dancing. You could take a class in anything. Like, whatever fills your days, you know? Because, I mean, there's definitely more to life than the fucking internet of all things. And definitely more than influencers. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, if your whole world revolves around YouTube, I hate to be the one to break it to you. You gotta get some hobbies that do not revolve around YouTube. That said, once you have said hobbies in place and know healthy amounts of time to actually be on the internet, maybe then you can bring the fruits of those hobbies to the internet and share them. And we'll all have a great time indulging that. But it's never a good look when you're a little too online all the time, you know? And especially if you're putting a little too much emphasis all on just one creator and demanding too much from them, especially when it's like they're giving you all the signals that it's like, if you're just messaging, and you're getting no response and you're still going, nonverbal cues, dude. Even as an autistic person, there is a level of self-awareness that eventually kicks in. I don't say you have to like it, I'm just saying that it's life. That's reality. So, that was another thing I found comical, was them not believing I'm autistic and you should get checked again. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be sure to do that. The person who's literally like the walking poster child of every fucking symptom, but okay, yeah, I'll be sure to do that. Sorry, that rubbed me the wrong way too. I'm being a little bit petty now. I'm sorry. I'll walk it back. But same with mental health. They did it at that too. Just little weird stuff that doesn't strike you in the moment is being that problematic till after you have parted ways and you look back at it and you analyze it and you realize, that probably should have been a red flag right there too. I probably should have disengaged at this point. This over here, I easily could have disengaged at that point. Why didn't I disengage at this point? You know, it's like hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning with boundaries. I know it's stupid at 40. Like, most people learn this shit by the time they're out of school. Most people know it in childhood about setting boundaries, especially in this day and age. People are really learning it young. But, like, those of us who weren't raised with them intact, like, it is an uphill struggle trying to learn, how do you do that? How do you just know where appropriate boundaries are? Doesn't it vary from person to person? And the answer is yes, it does vary from person to person. And just because you know darn well I'm talking to this person over here at the same time that you wish I were talking to you does not mean I am obligated to give you equal time or any time. It just this is where it does start running into like the whole parasocial areas where it's like, if you're getting butthurt over shit like that, it's time for you to take a step back and just evaluate yourself. Because this isn't about the content creator. This is about something in your life that is amiss in some direction. I'm not saying you're nuts or anything like that. Just that you're lacking something in some area of your life, and now you have tried to fill that void with a content creator who did not ask for the role of doing that. And if you're doing that in a way that is not obtrusive to their life, cool for you. That's great. Happy to hear it. But when you're starting to make demands on their time and feeling entitled to their time and attention and this, that, and the other, that's where it tips the line. And that's where you have to like take a step back and breathe and be like, wait, I should probably dial this down several notches. It doesn't mean cut ties with that creator entirely at that moment. I mean, like, obviously, if they continue to just, like, not... I mean, this doesn't go for just comments. Like, comments, again, I hit the little heart icon on because I just genuinely don't have shit to say. Like, for as much as I'll babble on here, when it comes to, like, written word, I'm like, I have very little to say. I either have a novel to say, or I have nothing to say. There is, like, no in between with me. And it's kind of hilarious when I say it out loud, but I'm sure it's also infuriating to be on either extreme of this, either being like, Jesus Christ, she wrote a thing like this, or, she didn't even write anything at all. I don't try to be like that, it just works out like that. But, yeah, I don't mean to be ungrateful in any kind of way, shape, or form for those of you who are here, who watch me day in, day out, who comment to me. I'm very, very grateful for all of you. And like I said, most of you, this is not about you. 99.9% of you are totally fine, have never given me a problem. You don't have to do anything different than you've been doing all along. But it's just that very, very small niche group that systematically, unfortunately, did one by one get weeded out because I got very uncomfy over it. Those are the ones. I'm hoping that number stays very low because I get very weird over people needing too much from me. That's why I'm not a parent and could never be I can't have people depend on me like that. I am not equipped. I don't have the facilities to be that needed. Like, I show up on here, that is my level of, okay, if you need to see my videos for whatever reason, to help you fall asleep, to help you relax, to help pass the time, to help fill the days, like, I get that. That's cool. That's fine. No issue. But it's like, when it starts going beyond that in a way that's not like a mutually agreed on, like, oh, we followed each other back on social media. Like, okay, now I'm actually getting to see some of your life as well as you seeing mine. This isn't all one-sided, therefore it feels a lot less weird to me now. If I know nothing about you and you're trying to demand that kind of time from me and just the emotional labor from me, it doesn't really sit well. And when you think about it like that, I hope it makes a little more sense that, like, if you're not even offering so much as any kind of a social media presence at all, really just, it strikes weird. It strikes weird, you know? Again, not saying any of the people that have ever fallen on the wrong side of that line were bad people. They're not. They're just people who didn't quite understand how to appropriately deal with social media presences like influencers, that it's not the same thing as just like organically meeting people and then, oh, we're besties. It's not the same thing. It can feel like that. It can certainly feel that way, and you definitely do grow connections to the people who are regulars here. I'm not saying there's no connection at all. There is. I tend to, like, remember names. I remember details about people. Like, I pay a lot more attention than you probably think I do. But when I know nothing really outside of that, when they're not offering up their own social media presence to follow back, it's like, I'm throwing a little bit of side eye, not out of judgment, but out of just, I don't know how much to trust this. It feels suspicious, because it's so normal now to have a social media presence that it's almost like, why don't you have one? What did you do? Why don't you have one? I mean, I'm not insinuating they did anything. I'm just saying this is what it feels like from the point of the creator who has somebody who's expecting that much out of them, but there's no presence for us to, like, look at and get some kind of glimpse of their life back. It's all very one-sided that way, too. So don't think it's all just one-sided. Well, I caught feelings in some kind of way, not romantic, but just like, you know what I mean, platonically caught feelings in some kind of a way. And why aren't they reciprocated? And that's, you know, again, if you're not offering up the same, that's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. But that said, even to the people who do have one as well, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to follow your every move as equally as you do ours. It is not a perfect two-way street. Some of us might, for certain people, but it is unrealistic to expect every person to follow your every move all the time. And I think that would also be a little psychotic to expect, right? I mean, I know I do have a handful of people at least who watch my everything I upload, and I thank them for it. Like, I'm very appreciative for that, don't get me wrong. But you can't expect me to drop everything and follow everything you do just because you also did it. It's like, if you're posting things I'm genuinely interested in back, I might. But otherwise, I mean, odds are, let's be realistic. Most of you, cards on the table, do not watch my every single video, do you? No, you don't. Most of you don't look at my every upload on social media, do you? No, you don't. I don't expect you to. I'm actually kind of glad that you don't. I mean, not that I'm hiding anything, I'm not, but just in the, you know, you got your own life, you've got your interests, there's certain things that I offer up that interest you, cool. You interact with those, but you don't bog your time down with the ones that don't. That is a perfectly balanced, rational way to approach it. The ones who literally just watch anything and everything, I commend you as a trooper, but holy hell, I could not do that. Do not expect me to do that. I don't think I do that for much of anybody outside of celebrities, and even of them, I think there's about 5 that I follow that closely of their every single upload the minute they do it. Most I do not. Most of them are far more casual than that, where it's like, okay, I might see most of them, not everything. Every once in a while, some slip through the cracks. Believe it or not, Paula and Ringo are not even on the list of the ones where I follow every single last move. I don't even have post notifications turned on for them. I follow them. I don't follow their every single breath. Yeah. Hell of a note, right? So, but there are a few that I do for, and they're not the ones that you well, a couple of them are, but they're probably not the ones you expect. So, I don't know. It just, no shame in the game if you do, but there is absolutely no expectation of it at all. I think it's more balanced when you just like interact with the stuff that catches your interest, and the stuff that doesn't, you don't gotta. I don't want you to ever feel like you're forcing yourself to watch my content, ever. Because holy shit, I wouldn't do it. I don't even watch my own shit back to like edit it. I just literally just like throw it in an editor, pump up the volume, and throw it on the internet. That is about the level of my engagement with my own content. So, I think that probably is pretty similar to most content creators that aren't like massive ones that have a ton of editing in them. But I digress. It's just one of those things where I didn't want to knee-jerk react right away. I forced myself to take a day, process the events that have transpired, feel what I needed to feel, analyze it, think what can I do better in the future, like, you know, things like that. What can I learn from this? And that's why I share it, because I'm just kind of waxing poetic at this point about things, because it's just like, it's been so long that I've encountered this. I don't think the public broader discussion about parasocial relationships had even happened yet. I mean, that was just within the past few years that we have started openly discussing that just across social media, and people have started to like reevaluate their relationship to social media for it. Some will complain that, but you're not as open as you used to be, and that's bullshit. I'm as open as I've ever been. I just don't crash out as often on here because I make more of an effort to talk about more things with my parents instead of just word vomiting them on here every time I have a slightly unpleasant emotion. I still sometimes do, as you guys fucking know, because sometimes there's topics that just for whatever reason I don't feel comfy going to them. That's okay. I mean, I use it as like a vent just to get it out of my system. This was another of that person's complaints about me on their way out, was how I post these crisis videos and people even reach out and they're met with silence, but it's just like, yeah, I wasn't really looking for somebody to fix my problem. I kind of just wanted to get it out of my system, but also in a way where others might relate to it if they're also going through something similar. That's it. It ain't that fucking deep. I'm not really looking to gain anything from anyone. Sometimes, occasionally, if I am actually actively looking for somebody to talk to about a thing, I might mention it in there, and sometimes people will jump it in the comments saying I can talk to them. And sometimes I do it, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I will pick and choose of those. Who do I feel comfortable going to about said thing? And then I go from there. I don't see what's wrong with that. And I don't think most of you see anything wrong with that. I'm pretty sure that's a balanced take. Is what it is. I mean, some of you would argue I shouldn't be venting at all on here, but you know what? My channel, my rules. Is the whole thing like, if you went over to somebody's house and you started making demands about the way that they decorated their house and the way that they ran that house and the way they lived in that house, do you think you would ever be invited back there again? Fuck no, you wouldn't. So why is it different when somebody comes onto your social media platform and they start acting like that, essentially, in a roundabout way? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but like, roundabout kind of way. They are kind of doing that though, right? Therefore, it makes sense you pull back. It's like, yeah, I don't really want you at my house if you're gonna be like that. Like, actually, there's the door. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, you know? It's just, it's like that. So, I don't know if that helps put it in an analogy that might make it click for some people if they're still, for whatever reason, butthurt, but I don't know. It's just weird. The internet's weird. Social media's weird. Life is weird. We're all weird. At the end of the day, like, I'm not trying to single out people in the way that they're probably gonna take it, given historically, but I have them blocked, so it's fine. But, man, it's strange. You know, it's this kind of behavior, the handful of times that I have encountered it, that really does tend to result in me pulling back and being less willing to share things in the future, because I don't want to incur more of that. But at the same time, that feels unfair. It's both unfair to me, but it's also unfair to the rest of you who were never a problem. So I'm trying to not fall into just gut reaction, pull back, share nothing. No. This is why I made myself take a day, just fucking breathe, process, do what you gotta do, and just evaluate moving forward that, okay, this was a one-off person. This is not a sign of just you're following as a whole. It's not. Most of you are not like this. So most of you, I got no problem with the way we interact. You're good. You're good. So if that helps calm any nerves, I hope it does, because in case just random passersby who are just regular normal viewers here, I don't want you to think this is about you, because it's not. And even some of the like really, really, really devoted ones that come here, I don't want you to think this is about you either, because it's also not. Because I know which ones of you are definitely thinking it right now. Let me reassure you, no, it's not you. You're not catching any strays in this, don't worry. And that's why I'm going to try to force myself to, okay, don't cloister up now, don't knee-jerk react, don't pull back that hard. Be as open and vulnerable as you've always been. You don't gotta do anything different. I'm really trying to just get back to my roots of how I was on this channel before the past couple years with like the mental health tanking kind of thing. And I am slowly getting there, I think. Some of you have seen the shift of more life getting breathed back in here. I mean, the upload schedule's still wonky as fuck. I do the best I can. It's never gonna be perfect. That's why I'm unemployable. I can't stick to a schedule to save my life. But, anyway, yeah, it's a strange thing. It's a strange thing, but, most of you perfectly, totally fine. I don't need to see a wall of, oh my god, if this is me, I'm sorry, because no, it's not about you, 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 it's not about you. The only person this particular one regarded to this time was already sifted out. Therefore, it's not about you. Anyway, trying to think if I have any further thoughts or if I'm good, because I think I've about spoken my piece from every angle that I wanted to approach this from, so I think I might be good. I don't think I'm even gonna bother to edit the intro and outro into this one. I think I'm just gonna throw it up raw for how big the file is no doubt gonna be for this length. It could be a while before it actually hits the internet, but yeah, it just weird, or strange days indeed. Strange days indeed. Oh man, maybe that should be the title of this video, but I feel like for it to reach its full potential, I gotta be more apt with it. But yeah, I'm trying, I'm making the effort. I ain't perfect. I do what I can. And that's the best I can do. If that's not good enough, I don't know what to tell you, but I do my best.